hear us?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I'm glad nobody heard me go pee.
No, they could hear it.
I mean, it was a pretty heavy flow.
Hey,
Bathroom's right around the corner.
I'm happy like the flow is heavy.
Yeah, man. Staying hydrated. It's hot out there. Gotta stay hydrated. Dude, I bring so much like water and Gatorade and shit with me every day to work.
Yeah, I'm usually drinking one of those freaking coldest water bottles at least one a day.
Oh, yeah. I have it's not a coldest water bottle, but it's like a thermos. It's like this tall and like this big around. And I go through one of those every day, like plus Gatorade. And, you know they're out there. Gotta stay
sticking
hydrated.
to a sweet tea for now. A pure leaf.
Nice. Doesn't tea actually dehydrate you?
I don't know, but it tastes great.
I think tea actually dehydrates you. I mean, I'm sure that it hydrates you to some extent.
You know they're out there, don't you?
SoundCloud rapper Anthony Rubella, I see you in chat.
Mixtape coming soon.
That mixtape is gonna be fire, son.
He's gonna be stopping at his local grocery store.
Yeah.
Be like, no, I don't want to listen to. I mean,
Handing out my mixtapes outside of
I'm trying to
7-Eleven.
remember. I think it was I saw like a TikTok video of like this dude standing outside a grocery store. And he was like, he took off his headphones, like started running at somebody. And I was like, no. And he starts chasing them around the town.
Jesus Christ. That's probably not the best way to get your mixtape out there. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah, how many like famous like musicians now have come out of like SoundCloud?
Right.
Tons of them. Tons of them. I see Addy Tooney in the chat. I see you, brother
I'm trying to
man.
remember, I think was it Bandcamp before SoundCloud?
Bandcamp's still a thing though.
Yeah.
But I think Bandcamp was first.
Like there were some bands that I freaking before I got into like Spotify and all that. Before some bands that I knew of that I wanted on Spotify before they got on there, I used Bandcamp to listen to them.
Yeah.
But
Do you remember the days of like discovering bands on MySpace?
I don't know about you, but I'm like this past like 2 weeks have been like more if you're more of like into core music has been like 2012, 2010 when you lived because of a
Oh,
band.
dude, I have been living somewhere between 2008 and 2012 with
my
metal
God, it's
lately,
like-
and that's it.
Some bands that like disbanded around like 2012, 2010 right after they put out like an album that was fire came back and released a new single over the last like week or two. I'm like, yes, 10 years finally.
Oh, no, I haven't found anything like that, but like I've just been living in that music lately. Like I've been listening to a lot of like This or the Apocalypse, Storm the Sky.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Here I Breathe.
Yes, dude.
Did you see that they came out with a new single?
Did they really?
Yeah, they're back.
Oh,
I was
shit.
like, holy hell.
That's dope. I'm gonna have to check
And it's
that
like, you listen to that song, it's like they never left. I'm like, this is amazing. I think Tony's vocals got like, his cleans got more refined and everything because his cleans sound so much better and everything. I'm like, yep, I'm perfectly happy with this. And then Structures is back now.
out. Oh, dope.
I was like, oh my god. I started listening to them before Divided by came out.
Do you ever listen to Beartooth?
Yeah.
Yeah, they just put out a
You
new
know
album.
they're out there, don't
I've been listening to stuff with fucking Caleb in it since he was in Attack.
Attack!
Wow.
Yes, dude. Caleb Shomo is like my spirit animal. I love him so much.
His vocal styles changed so many times throughout the years.
Oh, yeah. But it's always like, no matter how it's changed, it's never like refined.
Right.
It's always like raw. It just gets like a better version of raw every time.
Right, yeah.
But it's never like refined. Did you ever listen to the Blackbird sessions that they did, like the acoustic set and
No, I
stuff?
haven't listened to it.
Oh, dude. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good. It's almost westerny. And it's
Really?
amazing. Yeah, dude. It's after our show tonight, please. There's only 4 songs on it. Go listen to it. If you
Yeah.
like Beartooth, just go listen to it.
Yeah, I'll take a look. Well, you ready to do this?
I'm ready to do this.
Let's
Are you
do
ready
this.
to do this?
Intro.
All right, let's do this.
Let's get this intro going now.
In the history of television, great men and women have brought us up-to-the-minute news as it happens. From the moon landing to the dangers of secondhand smoke. Sometimes they even make us laugh. The one thing that stays the same, everyone wants to know what's in the news. From the Voss News Network, your hosts, Poonsauce McNasty, and to give the show some credibility, Logan Exhales. And now, back to the studio.
Boom. What is going on, everybody? Happy Wednesday to you all, and welcome to another episode of What's in the News. I know it's been a minute since we've been here, and there's been a little couple... Logan's been stuck at work for the past few times, and things just... Well, okay, the week before, last week, work kind of sucked that day, so...
Yeah, I got home super late, and I had no idea what time it was, you know, and Corey texted me at like 10 of, and he's like, just shoot me a link whenever you're ready. And like, I had just gotten home, I hadn't showered, I hadn't eaten dinner, and I was like, bro, this isn't gonna happen this
I was
week.
like, yeah, no worries. And then we were gonna do it last week, but then I'm not gonna make Logan do a fucking show when it's his birthday. Are you kidding me?
It was my birthday.
I don't want rage sweats to happen on your birthday. That's just ridiculous. No, so I gave Logan the night off. It was unpaid though, unfortunately. So
it was not paid, you know. It's okay.
But
Corey
we're
gives me
back.
vacation time, which is nice.
Yeah,
it's unpaid vacation time, but I got vacation time,
right.
so
So
thank you, boss. I appreciate it.
Technically, this is our regular schedule, so it's like we didn't have to change things up a little bit, so we're back to the regular schedule again. So welcome. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about tonight, but some studies, some flavor bands, you know, the average shebang of the news and advocacy show. But before we get into that, why don't we talk about what the hell we're vaping, since it wouldn't be a vape show if we didn't do that. I feel like it's law.
It is kind of like a law. It's
feel
like
like,
an unspoken rule that you
like
have
if we
to
don't
have
do
a
our
buffet.
buffets, the vape gods will like shut the stream down instantly.
Yeah, the entire internet will crash, and it'll basically be like 1984.
Right? So, Logan, it's been a minute. What the hell are you vaping on, man?
I have a super simple buffet.
Hey, that works.
Standard, you know. I messed up my finger today, by the way. Standard, what is this? Geek Vape, Aegis Mini, Nano, whatever
That's the
it
new
is. Yard Mod 2.0. Slide sitting on top. Lemonberry from Masshole Vapors, 10 milligram in that. And then I've got the Gaia. I don't know. It is what it is for a mod. Dual 21700. Blotto sitting on top of there, and I've got some passion fruit from Saddle Horse Blues loaded up inside. And that's it. That's all I've got.
Cool. Yeah.
I've got I guess if we're just going with nicotine safer
Which ones are
alternatives,
those?
I've got some Captain in right now.
What flavor?
This is Lingdon. It's a Loganberry essentially. It's snus.
So is that like your own berry? Like if you were a berry, that would be.
If I was like, I couldn't be another berry. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I couldn't be like blueberry.
Logan
Like,
Blueberry.
lame.
Coming at you.
Boysenberry. Nah, Loganberry. And it's delicious. What do you got?
I got a few things going. I got of course, always in possession with the GT4S. Got the MK Regina GT4S on top. Single Breeze Tones series coil that I turned into a single because high voltage, low wattage is amazing. And inside of there, I got some of that Splash, which one is this? The Fruit Scream, which is like a bunch of like mixed fruits together, and it's delicious, especially for summer.
So that sounds like a nice summertime vape.
Yep, then I got my Death Wish Leviathan with the Violator on top. Hold on, I feel a sneeze coming.
Bless you.
I hate when people do that. Fuck.
Yes.
No, because then when people do that, it sits in the nose, and it's be like, I'm just going to sit here for like 5
I'm
minutes.
sorry.
And suddenly, in the middle of a
naturally,
conversation,
like,
it's going to be
instinctively
like,
an asshole, and I had to.
And then inside of there, I got that backed strawberry caramel cream.
I really got to try some of that, man.
This is
lime
I haven't
stuff.
opened any of the other ones yet. This one's taken me a little bit longer to go through than I thought, but like the more it steeps, the more I'm actually enjoying it. So it's like it's at that perfect like steeped realm right now,
Right.
to where I'm just like plowing through it, and
Yeah.
it's really. I mean, obviously you could see the creaks and the like.
Oh yeah.
This
Oh, yeah.
I've been put some major squeezing into this bottle,
Yeah. Sometimes you got to with those chubby gorillas.
right? And then finally, I got my Death Wish Nostromo with the Fatality 25 on top, and inside of there, I got, of course, okay. This company just to me just can't put out a bad liquid. This is my third flavor, I think, from having them already out of the 12 or 15 bottles that are still sitting over there. But I opened up some Butter Number 10. That orange apricot jam almond pastry. And oh my Lanta. It is just awesome. It's like, you know, when you have like those almond cookies? Mm-hmm. Like, kind of get that like sweet, like nutty kind of. It's that distinct almond cookie flavor. I feel like is in here, but it's like more like a cream. But then like that orange kind of apricot thing in there is just
like marmalade on an almond cookie.
Delicious.
Yeah,
whatever Supergood does to make like jammy flavors, they need to continue doing it because it's ridiculously good.
Yeah,
it's
Supergood. They tuned into a come down of mine one Sunday like months ago, and hit me up and was like, "Hey, we really want to send you some liquid to try." Mm-hmm. And I was like, "Well, pump the brakes." Just me being me, I was like, "Pump the brakes." I live in New York, like. And we have a mail ban, we have an online ban, we have all this stuff here in New York, and it's a huge mess. And I'm like, look, I appreciate you guys, and I would love to try your liquids, but I don't want you guys to take a risk sending something to me just because, you know, that's me. But at some point, I'm sure I'll try.
I know there's a couple, like, I think
they're a great
from what
company.
I saw, they're trying to get into like the US thing. Unfortunately, it's like all their stuff short fills. So when I got mine in, I got, was it like 20 something bottles of nicotine, little like freaking 10 bottles of nicotine.
It's such not like, let's just talk about that part of the TPD really quick, because not only is that a huge hassle for people, especially starting out, like switching over from smoking to vaping. Now you have to mix stuff. You have to do all this, like, you feel like a chemist just to quit vaping. That's a lot to ask out of somebody right out of the gate to begin with. And then on top of that, there is so much extra waste involved.
Yeah.
So much extra waste. You have all that packaging, all those little bottles of nicotine, all that. It's just, why? Like, it's not environmentally friendly. It's not user friendly. It's not consumer friendly. It's not helpful to getting people to switch over. It's just an entirely useless extra part of the TPD just because.
Yeah, because I think
that's my rant.
Because I remember I got all of them in, and I like got all the nicotine in. But because what happened was I ordered the liquid, and that realizing, crap, I may have forgotten to add the nicotine to my cart. Because usually how it is when you order from Supergood's website, because I ordered all of it before, like right before they stopped shipping to the U.S. And I forgot to add it, so I went on to Steel Valley's website when it was still selling stuff, and purchased a shit ton of nicotine. And so I had all the nicotine here before the Supergood order came here, because that thing went all around Europe for some reason, because it got lost at one point and then went to Germany at one point during its travels. And then it came here, and guess what was inside? Some nicotine with all my bottles of liquid. So now I just doubled down on nicotine, which is like, hey, I'm not worried about it. I put all that in a Ziploc, put it in my fridge, making sure it's...
if you're not going to use it like anytime soon, keep it in the freezer.
Okay, yeah.
It's actually better to keep it in the freezer than the fridge. I have one bottle of nicotine that I use for my mixing that I keep in the fridge, and that's like my active, I'm using this bottle, and then all my other nicotine stays sealed up tight, nice in the freezer.
Yeah, because I have mine in a gallon Ziploc, like air pushed out of it and like rolled kind of situation. And just like, I put it in like one of the bottom drawers in the bottom of the fridge, like bottom corner, coldest area. Stay there for a while until you need it absolutely necessary, if ever it's needed.
And one of the best things to do too, and I learned this from Jennifer Winstead, to open those bottles of nicotine as little as possible.
Yeah.
So like one of the things you can do is if you have like an extra spare, like 60 mil or something like that, 120 mil laying around, like a mix bottle, fill that up
with all,
and then close that nicotine up and put it away. And then just use that little bottle. You know what I mean? While you're mixing. That way you're opening that big bottle as little as possible. And that's going to prevent like oxidation, you know, things like that.
Well, because
instead of opening that big bottle like 100
when they
times.
sent out the liquid, they're in like small 10 ml bottles. And the way that Supergood does it is a really cool, where it's like the the math for how much like of those 10 mil things you need, since they're all short fills. So like the 60 mil bottles we filled up 50 mils, and the 120 mil bottles we filled up 100 mils. So if you want a 3 milligram, all you just got to remember is 60 mil bottle, only use one of those 10 milligram shots when it's the 18 milligram, I believe. And then if you want a 120 mil bottle filled up to be a 3, you just use 2 of them. So it's like, that's all I did. I sat at my kitchen table, like toweled down, wore gloves, and freaking started just squeezing the hell out of freaking bottles, taking caps off, and just filling up bottles. It was a pain in the ass, but now everything's nicked up, so all the bottles of my Supergood are just...
I don't imagine it's a massive deterrent for current vapors in the UK. You know what I mean? It's an extra step. It's probably a nuisance. It's annoying. It's whatever. But when it comes to people making the switch, it's just an extra unnecessary step. It's a deterrent.
Right.
You know?
Because people want to get, like, just get it, open it, fill it, done. The more simplistic it is for the beginning user is the most ideal. Because for them, all they had to do was open a pack of cigarettes, grab a lighter, light it up, and smoke it.
Yeah, exactly.
If there's anything
and then
that
now you have all these extra
more
steps, right?
than that, it's just why even
like,
bother?
oh, you have to change your coils? Okay, yep, you got that down. Now you have to mix your own liquid? Okay, yep. Now, you know what I mean? It's one of these extra things where there's already a process to switching that a lot of people aren't necessarily comfortable with or used to. And then when you throw more on top of it, especially when there's no need for it.
Yeah, definitely. So, starting to get into things here. We're going to talk about something that it's kind of like we knew it was probably going to happen, but we want to give the organization credit for trying, because it's been going on. I think this lawsuit that they've been doing, if you don't know what we're talking about, there's been like a lawsuit with the USVA going against the Supreme Court, trying to do something about the FDA's authority under the Tobacco Control Act, trying to get vaping products off of being a tobacco product, I believe, is what that whole
essentially,
of what it was all about. So I'm going to throw that in chat for you guys. Big shout outs to our good friend Mr. Jim McDonald, the king of vaping news, and just one of the smartest individuals I have a pleasure to know. He's just a great human being and just very, very smart, and he's a fantastic writer.
Jim's just a grumpy old man.
Yeah, he's just a grumpy old man. Stay off as long. He'll shoot you with a shotgun, but he does some awesome writing for advocacy and all that stuff, and he has really good opinions and all that stuff. So this is kind of in regards to Big Time Vapes. It's a vape shop out of Mississippi. It's a liquid manufacturer and a shop. And unfortunately, the lawsuit they're going to keep it as is. They reject the Big Time Vape appeal when it comes to them doing that. So it sucks because we kind of knew it was going to happen, because it kept on getting dragged on and dragged on and dragged on for, I think this was probably around the ending of like that deeming reg kind of I think it started around 2018 when that deeming rule started.
It's like, I want to say it was late 2019, early 2020.
Yeah, it was
this
close
got started,
around there.
But I could be wrong. But yeah, I mean, and it went through a bunch of smaller courts. It got shot down. It got shut down. It got shut down. So they appealed to the Supreme Court as kind of a last-ditch effort here.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it kind of turned out the way that most of us assumed it was going to turn out.
I mean, we got to.
But like they had to try, right?
Yeah.
Like they had to try.
We got to give them credit for that, because it's just, if you're not gonna, they spent their money trying to get all of the lawyers and stuff together, put it together for this. Because I bet you getting into the Supreme Court and how much money that costs, that's crazy amount of money you probably have to spend to get an actual court hearing in the Supreme Court.
And they've spent a lot of money. It was a Hail Mary, you know what I mean, to begin with. And there's some grounds there that they do have on their side, but it was a Hail Mary. But it's one of those things where you have to try. I mean, a few years down the road, and somebody goes, well, we never tried this. Well, why didn't they try this? We donate money. It's a trade association. We got to try. We never try. Like, you have to try.
Yeah. So big shout outs to the Big Time Vapes and the USVA for actually putting the effort in to see if they can get something done with this. I mean, it's the kind of like the saying where it's like, if nobody's going to do anything, we'll do it ourselves kind of situation. And they took the time, took the effort into trying to do this. Unfortunately, didn't go in their favor, but I'm always going to give the credit where the credit's due, and tell them thank you for trying to do something big for the entire industry, because even though you may have come up short, it just shows that there's people out in this industry that are doing the due diligence and still fucking care.
Yeah.
So,
and not just for the industry, for us.
Yeah, for us, for
consumers,
businesses, for everything.
everybody.
They were fighting for all of us practically,
Yeah.
and it came up short, which doesn't mean this is going to completely go away. It may show back up for maybe a couple years down the road, maybe do some changes with it. Who knows? But it's a big learning experience that we can learn from this as well, I think. We're just seeing how this turned out, and it can show what us as an industry and us as a community can kind of do differently to either support people who are doing this and just kind of learn. It's a learning experience. That's all it is.
Sure.
It's a huge learning experience. And for me personally, showing that these companies spent so much amount of money to get this done, I would look for manufacturers like Big Time Vapes and actually go support them during, like, if you're in the area where, if you're in Mississippi and you have one of their shops, show them some love, because they spent a lot of money trying to do this, and I think any amount of support from you, getting some products from them, getting some liquid, everything helps, because those are the ones that you want to stand behind. We always kind of talk about on here where you want to support the businesses that are going to support you.
Yeah.
And that's one that I want to support. So if I was in the Mississippi area, I'd be going over there, giving them my money for liquid, coils, you name it. So I think that's a quick little thing we want to talk about here. Remember, I threw that in chat for you guys so you guys could take a look if you wanted to read it over. But now we're going to kind of change into an interesting conversation with a couple studies that you may have been talked about as of recently. I know it's been like for the past month, it's been like a big topic of discussion when it comes to talking about some statistics with teens actually with vaping and all that stuff. And it's a big kind of situation to where there's one study that we're going to look at right here where talking about high school seniors who use e-cigarettes may have otherwise been cigarette smokers. And I feel like that's having the conversation involving like teens and all that stuff when we've been trying to keep it so set in our heads to where we don't want teens anything around vaping, or pretty much having the words teens and vaping in the same sentence a lot, because obviously look at where it's gotten us. But this is a conversation I think needs to be had to where us as a community, us as a, like, if you're a parent that as a teenage, like a senior in high school or something like that, where if you're in a situation to where, let's just say your kid, you found out your senior was vaping, kind of look at this, be like, first question I would ask was, were you a cigarette smoker? And I would want them to be completely honest with me. And if they said yes, would I have a problem with them using vaping to get off smoking cigarettes? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I know there's the kind of underlying risk of, like, this is still a legal kind of situation. You're not of age to be able to do this. But kind of the overall bigger picture of things to where it's like...
Which is actually a recent thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, nationally, T21, made that an illegal thing. A lot of seniors are 18.
Mm-hmm.
So prior to 2020, late 2019, when this went through, it was legal for them.
Right. I'm going to throw this link to this PubMed article in chat for you guys. Just take a look at it. It's a very, very good read, where it shows, like, their introduction to how they got this kind of study, in fact. So the introduction was, studies have indicated that youth who use e-cigarettes are more likely to progress to cigarette smoking. However, the likelihood of these youth would have used tobacco products in pre-vaping era is unclear. The study sought to determine whether youth who used e-cigarettes in 2014 and 2018 would have likely been smokers in the period preceding e-cigarette availability, which it's a very, very kind of interesting kind of way they looked at it, because I think it's a conversation that needs to be had too as well, where if vaping was around, most likely all these people right now that are kind of teen vapors, when it comes to seniors in high school being 18 years old, where technically you're tried as an adult, that they're maybe using that to get off the smoking. And if said vaping wasn't around, most of those teens right now would probably be smoking cigarettes as we speak.
Yeah, I think a good majority of them, you know. So I'm sure they looked at things like generational smoking, whether their parents smoked or not. I'm sure they looked at household income. I'm sure they looked at stress. I'm sure they looked at a lot of things which are like predeterminants.
Right.
And for whether a youth or this segment of youth is at risk to pick up smoking. So that's what they looked at, and they found that, yeah, the majority of them are. I mean, I'm sure that there are teenagers out there who were wealthy, not stressed, all sorts of things, great home, and there are teenagers that come from families and homes like that still start to smoke. The majority of them don't. And yeah, I absolutely agree. I think a majority of teens right now who are currently vaping that were never smokers were probably pretty likely to be smokers. They're or people who smoke. I'm really trying to break this habit of saying smoker. They would have been people who smoked. Yeah, there's a lot of factors there, and you got to look at teens who are risk takers in general. They're the teenagers who are most likely to start smoking or using drugs or having unprotected sex or whatever it may be. Risk begets risk, you know.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, there's a lot of factors involved, and it's absolutely reasonable to say that yes, a vast majority of these teens who were never smokers currently vaping would have most likely been smoking.
And the big thing they have on here, which is the big discussion that everybody should kind of take into account, which is youth cigarettes youth e-cigarettes use has increased rapidly with high prevalence among non-smoking youth. However, the decline in current smoking among 12th graders has accelerated since e-cigarettes have become available. E-cigarettes are largely concentrated among youth who share characteristics with smokers of pre-vaping area, suggesting e-cigarettes may have replaced cigarette smoking. Which, yeah, that's the big discussion that I think Sam, because you look at, there may be an increase of high prevalence vaping in youth, but when you kind of compare that to the smoking rates of 12th graders around there, probably 12th and above, I would say. Well, not above.
And I do want to kind of, I guess, set that record straight. There's not a huge prevalence in youth vaping. Remember, daily youth vaping is less than 5% right now.
Right.
Daily. Current, quote unquote current, which is just past 30-day use, sure. When we look at experimentation, yeah, those numbers are still relatively high, but they're almost the same numbers that we see in the UK, where they don't have a quote unquote epidemic. It's the same percentage. It's just that the UK acknowledges, rightfully so, that the vast majority of this is just experimentation.
It's kind of crazy how if you look at the statistics when it comes to youth vaping, they're practically, like how you said, they're practically the same, but when it comes
population difference and things included, but when we look at the overall percentages,
and you like kind of round things out, the averages are practically the same, because it's not going to be the same numbers because, like you said, population difference and all that. But when it comes to I just lost it. Holy crap.
But yeah, I mean,
wow, my brain just literally shut off.
That's the thing,
for
right?
about,
like we
seconds.
want to say there's this prevalence of youth vaping, but there's a prevalence of youth experimentation with vapor products.
I mean,
there's not a prevalence of youth daily vaping. That number is like 4.4 or 4.2% or something like that. It's pretty low, and it's below the 5% that the World Health Organization and everybody else would consider a smoke-free society, even though vapor products aren't smoke, but we lump them in with smoking. So therefore, here in this country, when we want to get to that smoke-free society, we'd be talking about less than 5%. So even if we include vaping into that number, those youth daily users are still below that threshold.
And it's like, you look at how the UK does it, there's no epidemic over there. Like how you say, they've embraced it as an alternative, where what we're dealing with over here is a government-created epidemic. The problem really isn't as bad as they seem it to be. No. And it's just ridiculous. It's kind of just shows the difference between
numbers.
Control over a government can have, I guess. Where different like kind of organizations like Campaign for Tobacco Free Kids are feeding propaganda into this government, and proving wrong information is actually doing more harm than good.
Absolutely.
Because obviously we're going to go right into our next little topic of discussion that is pretty much proof of that, where you see propaganda happening. And what was one of the main states to where they were pretty much whenever something is like crazy epidemic wise, what's the first state that kind of goes in to be like, oh yeah, we're gonna ban this? I don't know, probably the frickin'
California.
Yeah, everything is Prop 65. California doesn't like this. We're putting a warning on here just to let you know that California doesn't like this. I feel like that's what the label should be. So going into this article right here, I'm going to share in chat for you guys, kind of showing a little bit of a chart. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That's above the fucking... Really? Above 200 characters? Son of a bitch. God damn it, links with frickin' abnormally large frickin'... Okay, let me see if I can find a shareable one. Let's see. This is pretty much showing a difference between what a vaping ban can do within like cities like San Francisco, and showing the results and like how it affected possible rates of rising of cigarette smokers, which this is proof of that. I'm trying to find a shareable version of this so I can just copy and paste that, of course. Let's see.
Yeah, San Francisco banned flavors back in 2019. I don't know. 2019 into 2020 is all kind of a blur for me. It's all like one big year.
Right.
I get lost in that time zone, in that time frame. But I want to say San Francisco banned flavors back in like 2019. They were one of the first areas to ban flavors.
Right.
Mowgli says use tiny URL.
What's tiny URL? I need to... Well, hold on. More. LinkedIn. No, god damn it. We'll get to that when it goes. I'll find a way to do it. But this kind of just shows where a difference in pretty much the topic of this. It was published on May 24th, 2021. It's what it says: the difference in differences analysis of youth smoking and a ban on sales of flavored tobacco products in San Francisco, California. So, pretty much restricted on flavored tobacco product sales are increasingly popular. 5 U.S. states and hundreds of localities have implemented them in the past. And let's see, the past few years alone, yet one study, to my knowledge, has considered how complete flavor bans applying to electronic nicotine delivery systems and combustible tobacco products without retailer exemptions are associated with tobacco use. A convenience sample of residents in San Francisco, California, ages from 18 to 34, who have had used tobacco products, showing significant reduction in any tobacco use following the city's flavor ban, with a marginally significant increase in combustible cigarettes among the ages of 18 to 24, which it's kind of a crazy thing because it's just proof right there. It's proof. I guess you can say the proof is in the pudding, to where flavor bans aren't the correct way to do things. Not at all, because we say this time and time again, you take away somebody's availability to get a safer alternative, they're going to go straight back to what they were using before and pretty much stay on cigarettes. Tiny URL. Let's see. I'm going to try to do this.
Got it right here.
You got it?
Yeah, I've got it right here.
Look at that. Logan's got it. See? Boom. Logan's just...
I got you.
I got you.
I just
Thank you, everybody, for kind of helping me out. I don't really use Tiny URL that often. I'm surprised I haven't. I don't really get that many links that I share that are like crazy long like that.
It is in chat for you.
Look at that. Look at that. Awesome. So, it's just, what are your thoughts on this one? Because I know you've looked over a bit and kind of, it's been talked about with Nick and Danielle have talked about it. You've probably had conversations with Alex about this kind of discussion.
I mean, it's what we knew was going to happen.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, if you look at surrounding municipalities, they didn't see an increase in smoking, and that's what makes this like a concrete argument. So everywhere around San Francisco that didn't, wildly ban these flavors or outrageously ban these flavors, they didn't see an increase in smoking. They've actually seen decreases. San Francisco, on the other hand, especially with residents who can't travel outside the city, don't own a car, don't own a vehicle, or disabled or whatever, aren't able to get access. Yeah, what are they going to do? They're going to smoke.
They're going to
It's
find
the
the
same
easiest
thing
thing to
we've
get their
been
nicotine.
saying for years now. And right now, here it is. Here's the information. Here's the data backing up the point we've been trying to make for years.
It's just like it's nice to see an actual article showing that all of us that been saying like a flavor ban's not going to work. You're just going to create more smokers. The proof is right here.
Yeah, now we actually have data. We actually have a study supporting what most of us were basically, kind of just common sense for most of us who understand this.
It's just the same thing with prohibition.
But now we actually have the data to back it up. Now we're not just making some, claim based on experience and what we're hearing and testimonies and things like this. No, now we actually have hard data to hand to people and say, this is the result of a flavor ban. Multiply that by an entire state. Because we're talking about, albeit San Francisco is a big city, we're still just talking about one city. We're talking about one municipality. This is the result of that there.
You just think of
so
how
for
much
states looking at flavor bans, like Maine right now, for an example. Here, Maine, here's what's going to happen.
Do you want this to happen? Do you want to kill thousands of people just because you took away a less harmful alternative? Here's pretty much what you're going to do, and the proof is right there.
Yeah.
Data, pretty much copy paste, show them. So this is an article that I think Logan copied the tiny URL into there for you guys. So this is something that you guys should keep, where it's like if you talk to somebody showing that like that may be for a flavor ban, show them that article, show them that study.
Yeah, bookmark that.
That's a heavily need to bookmark kind of thing because it just shows right there. Everything's right there, black and white for you. It's kind of crazy where it's like everybody in the vaping industry that have been saying this for years. It's like, we finally told you so.
Yeah. Addy Tooney, I've already sent it to Chuck. I've sent it to Kristen. I've sent it to my rep. Please do. Absolutely, please do, Addy.
That'd be awesome, yeah.
Trust me, I've definitely already sent it, though.
But going into I highly recommend everybody to give that article, that study a read. It's a very, very, lot of information right there. A lot of big words for people like me that may have difficulty to understand a little bit, but just take your time reading it. But it's very, very good information right there. And this is definitely one that you should be forwarding over to state reps, local reps, all the kind of things, saying right here, this is something that needs to be in discussion when it comes to smaller municipalities or even states even thinking about a flavor ban, to where the moment they read this and see something brought onto their desk about one, they'll be able to go back to this and be like, this isn't going to work, and possibly this can help so many different states to not have flavor bans, and or just cities in general, because now we have plenty of different situations to where there's another city in California who's looking for another flavor ban now. There's states like Maine, they're doing flavor bans. There's Missouri, Kansas City, and that's what we're about to get into right now. So make sure you're keeping that study bookmarked, because it's highly, highly great information that is probably like some of the best sources you can use to send out to a local representative or something like that. But now we're going to get into where more of these flavor bans are starting to happen now. So now we're going to go to San Jose, California, to where there's a flavor ban that has been kind of introduced now. I'm going to post the link in chat for you guys right here, to where San Jose poised to ban flavored tobacco. Flavored tobacco soon may a thing in the past in San Jose. On June 15th, the city council will consider ending the sale of flavored tobacco products, including flavored e-juices and menthol cigarettes. The city plans to exempt hookah to align with the state regulations. So obviously hookah's not going to be involved with that, because there's a lot of more, I guess hookah has a fine liner of religious kind of things involved with it too.
Absolutely it does. Absolutely it does.
When it comes to more of the Middle East situations, all that, so I can definitely see that. I was an avid hookah user before I switched to vaping. Even though I didn't use it for religious purposes, it's a highly, highly used,
Yeah.
product when it comes to stuff like that. And let's see, so Dr. John Ma, board member of the American Heart Association, said that with colorful packaging complete with cartoon characters and flavors such as bubblegum, candy, and grape, flavored tobacco is designed to be enticing and is increasing youth tobacco use. The tobacco industry continues to lure kids with flavored products, he told San Jose Spotlight, and today's young people are the next generation of smokers.
The tobacco industry does not have flavored products on the market in the U.S. right now.
The vaping industry isn't the tobacco industry.
No.
This is what that sentence right there just aggravates the living shit out of me.
I'm sure that somewhere there are companies that have partial ownership or whatnot from the incumbent tobacco companies. Yes, that's the thing. That exists. But if you were to walk into a convenience store right now, none of those products, menthol, I guess, is left. But the FDA removed those flavored closed systems, which is what the vast majority of incumbent tobacco companies have as far as vapor products on the market go. So to say the tobacco companies are using flavors to lure, it's just all wrong to begin with. Flavors were created by people who smoke to help us not smoke. Period. End of story. End of discussion. Tobacco companies didn't even get into the game until like 2013, 2014. We already had tens of thousands of flavors on the market by then.
Yep. It's like that sentence right there.
Sorry, dude from AHA.
Yeah, it's like John Ma.
You don't know anything.
Yeah, pretty much is like your sentence is invalid. You're just wrong.
Yes.
Right there. And so San Jose Councilmember Pam Foley is leading the issue locally. It is important for our city to do everything we possibly can to ensure our children do not become addicted to e-cigarette products. I hate that fucking word, addicted. No, we're not addicted. We're most of the time, everybody in chat right here, we're not addicted to e-cigarettes. We're reliant on them. There's a difference between addiction and reliance.
That's probably the best word. Yeah.
And that's what I kind
of. There
of.
are plenty of people who aren't. They just vape because they enjoy it.
Yeah.
I know plenty of people that vape 0 milligram just because they enjoy vaping.
Yeah. It's a fun thing. It's a fun hobby.
The flavors hooked them.
Yeah. And now all the kids are getting hooked on it, and it's like dangerous to our children is long term. First of all, there's so many, I guess, when it comes to studies showing how nicotine affects youth. That goes on for miles practically. There's so many different like asinine studies. There's some that are for it. There's some that are against it. It's all over the place.
Yeah.
When it comes to studies affecting youth, and it's like the city passed a law banning the sale of flavored tobacco. It would take effect within 30 to 60 days after the vote, said Vice Mayor Chappie Jones. Come on, Chappie.
Love that name, Chappie.
So, let's see. According to a survey by Santa Clara County Public Health, nearly 1 in 3 local teens have tried e-cigarettes and 1 in 8 currently use them. So, that's where you kind of need to break down what's their definition of using them. Like, are they doing it every single day? Were they former tobacco smokers? Is what I feel like needs to be addressed as well, along with that teens trying them. Okay, where are the studies on teens trying marijuana, teens trying unprotected sex, all that kind of stuff? When it comes to, it just narrows down to what a teens do.
Yeah.
They do things that it's curiosity. Being a teen is pretty much being curious of what's going on in the world and learning new things, trying different things. It's just...
And the more that you tell teenagers no, the more they're like, watch me.
Yeah.
That was me, right?
Part
like,
of being a teen. It's going against authority.
If somebody was like, no, Logan, you absolutely cannot do this thing, I'd be like, I'm going to go do that thing, like, right now.
If every single
Unless
teen...
it was like, jump off a bridge or, common sense, you're going to die. Like,
if every teen had the mindset of, I'm not going against authority, it would be kind of like a dictatorship within the country. Every teen would be wearing the same kind of outfit at school, learning the same thing, have a TV program kind of with learning. It's like,
what
I don't know.
Boring, terrible world to live in.
It would be a shitty kind of country. It would be a shitty kind of situation. So, let's see what else is on here. The survey also found that 8 out of 10 San Jose tobacco retailers have sold tobacco products, and almost a quarter sell them to underage youth. First of all, right there, tobacco retailers, they go into actual convenience stores like gas stations where they're more of a chance for them to not card people, or they go into actual vape shops. It's like when they kind of post stuff like this, it gives me like they need to be more in detail of what kind of retailers they go into. Are they going to actual vape shops? Are they going to gas station convenience stores?
We have data on that from a few years ago that shows like dedicated vape shops are extremely low. Well, I guess technically extremely high on compliance. Like they don't have very many marks against them. Sure, there's a few here and there, a little bit. Even convenience stores aren't the biggest issue. And online retailers aren't the biggest issue. You want to know where teenagers purchase vapor products online? Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, like social media, secondhand sales. That's what, or family and friends.
Okay,
those are the two biggest.
This next kind of paragraph right here is because brings in some of our favorite little group right here, and this lady that's just
Mowgli Vapes. I am not going to go down that road, but trust me, I agree with you.
So, Jen Grand Leho, spokesperson for the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network, our favorite people in existence, said that the group wants flavored products targeting at youth and communities off color out of San Jose stores. She said flavoring masks the harshness of tobacco and creates a perception that it's safer. Here's another quote from her. With 90% of adult smokers starting by the age 18, this isn't an issue of adult choice. It's really a predatory industry taking advantage of youth who become addicted, she said. It's the only legal product sold that when used as directed kills half of its users. Can we just take a step back really quick? And if it was possible to like figuratively strangle somebody for saying something, she'd be probably on my list after that paragraph right there. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? Ridiculousness right there. That's just absolutely asinine. There's another paragraph where it's like, stop what you're saying. You're just wrong.
Well, I mean, smoking, long-term smoking does kill half of people who smoke long-term.
But kind of, she's saying that, like, kind of comparing, because I think in that sentence, she kind of says it to where it's like, it's vaping as well. Like, she's putting in that saying that vaping is practically
she's not necessarily wrong when it comes to smoking. But if we're applying smoking numbers to vaping, you're wrong.
Yeah. Because I feel like that's what that paragraph was kind of when it comes to this kind of flavor ban in general, her quoting this with that.
Yeah, she's conflating smoking and vaping. Yeah, that's what she's doing.
And it's just...
she's using all the horrible statistics about smoking.
And using it for vaping.
And trying to use that as evidence to support a flavor ban around a product that's at least 95% safer.
So if you're in San Jose, you definitely need to keep an eye out for this one, because definitely some support from the antis trying to get this thing put through. I mean, it's in California, so you know there's going to be a lot of anti-support, a lot of money put into getting this flavor ban put through. So make sure
it's like the equivalent, like if you were trying to ban water guns and you were going to come to the table with statistics about mass shooting and gun violence. You're like, look, okay, we need to ban water guns, and here's why.
And they show you this.
But we're not going to actually ban guns. We want to ban water guns. Like that's the equivalence here, and it's absurd. I'm also not in favor of banning guns. I just want people to know that. But that's the equivalence here. Like,
it's crazy how people are using those statistics and kind of waving into a direction that's something that's like, it's not even in the same like ballpark.
No, you're just conflating things because they look similar.
Yeah, it's like they may have similar wording in it, so we're going to use this wording to kind of coexist with this wording as well. And it's just ridiculous. So San Jose is something that, if you're in that area, keep an eye out. There should be, if there anything comes to where it's like more things start happening with it, you'll definitely see a call to action come up on CASA about it. And speaking of call to actions on CASA, once we're starting to wind down here, let's go through some and kind of talk about things that need to be talked about for anybody in here. I know probably everybody in here who's in the States have probably this bookmarked already when it comes to finding out what's going on the statewide level along with the national level. But right now, we got one in Kansas City, Missouri, which Kansas City, Missouri Council is moving forward again with an ordinance that would ban the sale of flavored vapor products and make smoke-free nicotine and other smoke-free nicotine and tobacco products. So what they've been tracking when it comes to stuff going on this, I know a lot of me and Logan looked at this yesterday, but it's still something we can talk about. They actually had the committee meeting this afternoon.
Yeah, it was like 10:30 this morning.
Yeah, so of course they do the committee meetings where everybody's at work and not going to be able to attend for.
I don't necessarily know if this was open to the public to begin with. But yeah, sure. I mean, that's standard protocol, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is open to the public, but we're going to do it on a Tuesday at 11 a.m. when everyone is at work.
It's just.
Yeah, absolutely. But
So
yeah, I think it was at 10:30 this morning.
Mm-hmm.
It's a committee meeting. We have no idea what the results of that committee meeting were, but that does not change the fact that people who live in this area absolutely should go ahead and still do this call to action, still write your reps. There's a lot of times where these things get tabled, they get pushed back, they get, if there was a lot of emails, if there was a lot of pushback, they'll pull it back, they'll reevaluate, they'll do what they, you know what I mean? There's a lot of moving parts involved. So just because it happened this morning at 10:30 a.m., we still have a link open for it. We still have all the information available to people. We make it simple at CASA. Go ahead, still do it. Still
okay,
fill it
so I'm
out.
looking at it right here. It's where it's ordinance 200937, which it says right here, brought back to consideration by the Finance, Government, and Public Safety Committee on June 9th at 10:30 a.m. There it said there is no testimony, period, with public, but there is actually an email testimony, email for the Finance, Government, and Safety Committee for Kansas City, to where public testimony at kcmo.org, which you can send your email, add your comments, tell them your vaping story, how that got you off cigarettes. It's the perfect opportunity to where if they're not giving availability for public comment period, this is your main source for letting them know that you disapprove this ordinance. But make sure you have in mind when you send that testimony, make sure that it's in regards to ordinance 200937. If you just send it not regarding anything, if you're just doing the send of testimony, they're just going to throw it away. They want to see it into regards, showing that the public is against an ordinance that they're thinking of putting out.
And go scroll back up in chat there and find that tiny URL link to San Francisco and include that as well. And yes, Addy Tooney, or do it at 3 a.m. during a pandemic in New York. It's a little different. It was a budget. It was a need to pass budget thing that gets extended late. Sometimes that happens. You normally don't see committee meetings at 3 a.m. anywhere, but I guess it's possible, and you're absolutely not wrong. Sometimes shit happens at 3 a.m.
100%.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Throw in the link to the Kansas City call to action in chat for you guys. If anybody's around that area in the Kansas City area, make sure you're staying up to date on this one. This is definitely one that you should keep an eye out for. But also, we got, like Logan mentioned earlier, the state of Maine has a flavor ban in the works. Is LD1550 is actually moving out of committee and heading to a vote by the full House of Representatives. Timing of this vote has not been published, so take this time to make contact with your state representative. So this is the big one. It's out of committee now, and it's actually going into a full-on vote. So if you're in the state of Maine,
another New England state. Like, we cannot keep losing New England to this.
We can't.
So if you're in Maine, please do this call to action.
It's like at this point, we're just going to lose the entire East Coast with vaping.
Except for Florida.
Yeah, Florida's going to stay where they are.
But whatever, it's Florida.
Yeah, I mean, there's a freaking law where you can't have sex with porcupines in Florida, so.
You know?
I mean, somebody tried.
What should be common
miserably.
sense?
So let's see what that. So
you're gonna learn. Listen, if you're gonna have sex with a porcupine, you're gonna learn not to do it again pretty quickly.
gonna be
I'm gonna warn you. Not that I've done it personally, but porcupines are very pointy and very sharp and very painful, and does not sound like a good time.
And a cool thing with this call to action specifically, which I don't think I've noticed on other ones, but they do their hashtag fun fact on this call to action as well, where it's FDA has already approved modified risk orders for multiple smoke-free tobacco products such as snus and heat not burn in mint, wintergreen, and menthol flavors. Products are only granted this authorization if the FDA determines that that marketing them as low risk is appropriate for protection of public health. So really nice. That's a cool like copy paste little you could put in your little testimony for them as well.
Yeah.
But make sure if you're in the state of Maine, we cannot lose New England. We can't lose the East Coast because it seems like most of the East Coast is going to try to destroy vaping over there as we know it, just because it's already starting to happen in New England.
Mass, New Jersey. Come on.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised if Connecticut's going to be coming soon, even though there's an expo that's happening there this weekend. Is there really? Is there like a legitimate vape expo that's happening in Connecticut? MVE, like with it being a part of like the World Hemp Expo, since it's like
I would say a lot of it's got to be like hemp, CBD, cannabis, like
which is an interesting kind of situation. That I actually found out, like, was it last weekend or the weekend before? There's actually a hemp expo that is going to be happening in the state of Texas in July.
Oh.
Holy crap! That's something I never thought I would hear. I think I need to, because Angela told us the town. I forgot who told us what town it was in, but it's literally next door practically to where Angela and Nick Garrity live. So
oh, cool.
It's literally the town over from them. So that's really cool. That seeing the state of Texas actually having a CBD hemp expo, where you know what their thoughts on that kind of thing already, to where
sure Texas.
I thought I would never see that happening whatsoever.
You can have 40 guns strapped to your legs and walk downtown, but you cannot smoke a cannabis cigarette.
Yep.
Texas.
It's just Texas for you. Where things make
just
sense.
Silly. I don't really like whataboutisms, but when they're funny enough, like Texas, sure.
And let's see anything else on here. Of course, we have. Let's see if there's an update on this thing in Arizona with sensible licensing support, which I think is like another support one. I have to see.
Yes. Yeah.
Let's see. This bill is moved to a vote in the House of Representatives, and your voice is valid to supporting it. Let's see if there's anything on this. Let's see. But if there's been any update on this one. I don't think there's actually any. It just shows a Microsoft Word document of the bill. Let's see. Section 36-601.01 failed to obtain the 3/4 vote pursuant to Article 5, Part 1, Section 1, Constitution of Arizona. So, I don't know if it didn't pass. I don't know. That's a good question. I feel like we'll get back to you next time on this to see if there's actually any up.
Yeah, I'm not entirely clear on it.
Did you try to like inhale and exhale at the same time?
Lungs full of vapor, yeah, and I was trying to speak. Didn't work.
But let's see. Other than that, I believe there's still a bunch of like flavor bans, vapor taxes in the state of Texas as well. That are because there were like 8 of them at one point.
It's because Texas is so big, and this isn't just something that's like unique to tobacco policy and vaping and things like that. Because Texas is so big, you will see the same bills introduced in separate corners of Texas or very similar bills because none of their reps talk to each other. They don't care about each other. You know what I mean? And it's so big, it just happens. You'll see something in Houston, and then you get something else in Dallas, and it's all over the place, man. Texas is Texas. Yeah. They want to be their own country.
Lee, you were absolutely right. Is actually Irving. And now that you said that, it sparked in my head. Like, yep, it's Irving, Texas. So, I believe it's around the same weekend as July 4th. I think it was like, I know it's beginning of July that there's a hemp expo happening in Irving, Texas. So if you're in that area, you want to participate in it, more than happy to. Send some family over there. Go over there and show that somebody that close to you may have some benefits to using CBD products. Sure. I think that would be a cool situation to get to. Who knows? You might be able to get some good deals, possibly with CBD things for your pets and all that kind of stuff. There's so many benefits when it comes to hemp and how it's used for medicinal purposes. Having that be in like a big
Lee
part
is like super adamant right now about letting you know that it is in Irving.
Okay, thank you, Lee. Thank you. I'll send you a
And I just
PayPal
want you to
link
know, Corey, it's in Irving. Okay.
Lee, where is it again?
Is it in Houston?
Is it Dallas?
It might be in Houston. No, I think it's in Irving.
No, I
don't
think
know.
I think
Lee will let us know.
Lee told us it was in Austin. That's what it was.
Oh, god damn, Lee.
Always can count on Lee for giving us the correct information.
Yeah, we should. Lee, just take my job, bro. Clearly, you're better at this.
See, what day was it? I don't know. You didn't put it in chat for us. What was it? You said it was July 19th and the 20th.
There it is.
Got
Right
it.
there it's in
19th and 20th, Lee. Got it. Thanks for the help. Lee, I'm just fucking around with you. We love you. But other than that, I think that's pretty much what we have for you guys today. There's a bunch of call to actions. There's definitely some cool studies that to keep in mind, stuff that you can share around to local representatives and all that stuff. But a lot of cool information to share around. Make sure you're keeping an eye on a bunch of these flavor bans. If you're in San Jose, keep an eye out for that. That could be coming pretty sooner than later, I would say. Maine, it's at kind of like a very sad part of it to where it's like, okay, it's already, you need to do the work. If you're going to do it, you have to do it now because it's getting to a full House vote. And the moment it gets to a vote, governor has to sign it, and then it's pretty much takes effect. So make sure
Unless you're Florida.
Yeah. Well, if you're going to be in Greece, Lee, what the hell? Then why? How are you having the information when you're going to be in fucking Greece when this expo is going to be happening?
Are you going to be in Greece, New York?
I think that's...
We have a Greece, New York. We also have a Rome, New York.
He's literally just going to be going to Little Italy in Dallas. And that's his version of going to Greece.
I'm going to Greece, you guys. Just downtown.
Just downtown. Has a sign above the street. It says Greece.
Welcome to Greece.
Watch, he's just going to
Us too, Mowgli. We got to get out of here too, bro.
Yeah.
Guys, thank you for being here.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in. You guys are amazing. Make sure that like button out there before you leave. It would help us out a lot. But before we get out of here, Logan, do you have any last things to say? Anything last things to plug?
I would hope that everyone here is already a member of CASA, but if you are not, please go join CASA, CASAA.org. Becoming a member is absolutely free. You can sign up for whatever emails you'd like or not sign up for emails if you don't like getting emails. After you sign up, though, I ask every single person who is a member, signing up to be a member, whatever, please go share your story in our testimonies page. We have thousands of them, but thousands is not enough. We literally want millions.
Hold on, we'll read a short one before. That'll be our final thoughts.
There you go. But otherwise, final thoughts for me. If you'd like to tune into the CASA Live Advocacy Update podcast, it's every Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. West Coast time. Anywhere else around the world, you got to figure it out. I'm terrible at time zones, you guys. And then if you want to hang out with me on Sunday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, over on my Instagram for the Come Down. I usually have a beer. We talk about beer. We talk about vapes. I build something. I try a new liquid. We just hang out. We talk shop. It's just a chill thing that I like to end my week with. So that's it. Be excellent to each other. Much love, you guys. Stay safe. Stay cloudy. Corey's got a testimony for us.
Yep. So before we get out of here, this could be our final thoughts from, I don't know if it's a he or she, but Bayhigh 1990. Says that I have been vaping since 2014. Since then, I have felt like I have been free of any smell of cigarettes. Vaping has helped me breathe, smell, and taste better. The areas around me have not smelled like cigarettes ever since. I have also started DIYing juice and have noticed vaping is a lot cheaper. I do not want to ever go back to smoking. Thank you. No, Bayhigh, thank you for quitting cigarettes and going on to a healthier alternative. To be an almost 11 plus year smoker, now fully free of tobacco, and now going through a safer alternative. And we really appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your testimony on CASA. Like Logan said, you have a testimony, put it in CASA's testimonials. Who knows? It might be shared on this show. We'll just have to wait and find out. But other than that, that is what we have for you guys today. So we will see you all in 2 weeks. So how Logan says it, stay classy, stay cloudy, and we see you all next time. See ya.